Hey, it's me, Big P, and I'm here with a harvest update video. It is July 20th, and harvest came out June 19th, so we're just over a month in the Harvest League. And it's been a while since I did a video, so I thought I would show the other two builds that I've been working on. Didn't really feel necessary to do a full guide on it. I'll do more of a guide on this build, and then the other build I'll kind of use as an opportunity to sort of talk more about Harvest and my feelings on that and the greater game as a whole. But this build is an assassin that has gone under a lot of iterations, and I'm going to show you what it currently looks like right now, now that I'm using a cast on crit bow. Since the nerfs to Cyclone, specifically for casters who can get stunned more easily now, I thought that now's the time, especially with Harvest, allowing us much more powerful crafting options than ever before. Try and get a bow done. And it's fun, but with mixed results and ultimately a little underwhelming in some cases. I'll show you what I mean. We're going to run a really quick map. One thing to note about the build right now is that it actually is way better for more open maps, I think, but it's fine here. You see the two skills I'm proccing are Ice Spear and Freezing Pulse. These are projectile skills that are scaled in the 6th link, or the 7th link rather, of the Shaped Bow. Take a look at the gear, which is extremely scuffed and not actually good right now. I mean, I still have my magic find stuff and I'm fucking Piranha's blazing like I'm a bot or something. But we'll take a look. I mean, we got a metamorph in here too, so maybe we'll get some. The single target is decent, but I can't help but feel like that's just because I threw a Void Fletcher on the build. One of the things I really want to do with this build is get it more consistent. Also, don't mind the music. I'm not going to run this side area. I'm going to see, I like to cover up like some of my subpar mic with some music. I don't know if this is going to get my video deleted and my channel shut down, but here it is. So yeah, basically, it's a pretty straightforward build. I'm just kind of not wanting to use the Frostbolt Ice Nova and wanted to do something a bit more interesting, and it's fun and satisfying, but kind of kills it when you realize that it's just like, this is just Ice Shot with extra steps. Like, you might as well, like I saw some bow builds assassin when I was looking on the PoE Ninja ladder, and it's just like, just do Ice Shot, just do Ice Shot and Barrage, and it's like, yeah, I guess I could, but let's see how this works out. I'm a little scared to do this on video, especially because I'm trying to level the build. Assassin is not exactly the tankiest ascendancy, doesn't do much in terms of that. But what is nice, compared to something like the, for example, this was a Cosprey's build before. Oh, I'm stuck there. Something that is nice is that you have, range options as I face tank the Metamorph. I'll show exactly what the gear is doing after this scuff fight. That wasn't so bad. I mean, it is only a tier 12 map, not too much. I've been trying to just like slowly level the build. We got up to 91, but again, yeah. Assassin is a bit of a glass cannon. I mean, back in my day, we didn't even have opportunistic, which does have some damage reduction built into it, or elusive. I hadn't done a cast on crit build in a while. The tree is a little scuffed and weird. This stuff doesn't even really work anymore, a lot of the area of effect. It's really only working for the Void Fletcher. Basically, I was running the build as a standard Cosprey's cast on crit with this and a shield. That was pretty nice. Doing the general stuff with Frostbolt, Ice Nova, the usual suspects. I'm not going to get into that. You've seen that build before. I actually have a build guide on that from Legion League. And yeah, I just wanted to kind of try a different take on it. So I bought a couple of what are these, shaped bow bases that I've been crafting a bit on. Not really sure what I'm doing in this, Harvest League for someone like me who, I'm pretty well versed with the game, but not exactly, a crafting genius, and definitely very lazy when it comes to crafting gear. It's just kind of been, I've been really putting stuff off. Like, can't even really say. I guess these Tailwind boots that I made were okay, but like they have all the like I want to get rid of that rarity prefix so I can put something, you know, good on it, like life or something. This does feel super good for mapping though. Overall, the build is really nice for mapping. Like I said, being at a range, being able to cast spells at a range, or trigger spells rather. Let's go over the 6th link here. So Barrage, you keep at level 1, just for mana cost. Not that mana cost is really a problem in this build. You know, between the Arcane Surge, spamming that dash, that sort of thing. I mean, the mana cost for it, it is 17, but it's linked with Inspiration. Basically, if you're not really that familiar with Cast on Crit, you want your spells that you're triggering to be affected by all your supports, and they are. GMP, although it does have less damage, it does fantastic stuff for both Barrage and Ice Spear and Freezing Pulse. You can use the Freezing Pulse Threshold gems. I think I was using them with like some like corruptions on them. What are they called? First Snow. But I think because GMP affects how many projectiles barrage and therefore how many procs you can get for Cast on Crit, it's good to use. And then we got an Ice Spear. I actually corrupted this myself. I was looking for one and I didn't want to, you know, I'd already dumped a decent bit of money into this build. This is like 3 or 4x for something that's like not even, you know, Ice Spirit isn't exactly a meta skill. And then I have an Awakened added cold damage, so, you know, by the time I'm 35 years old, I'll have a +1 to all level of cold gems that are in this socket. But yeah, I just bought this because it was actually one of the cheaper ones, and I figured I've actually never really used an Awakened gem before, so might as well throw it in here for a project. This is an ongoing project, like I said, basically swapped over to the bow. The bow itself isn't even that good. Bow attacks, fire an additional arrow is really nice with Void Shot. Void Fletcher, this is adding a lot of like damage to the build, but I do want overall the build to be more consistent. Gain Fizzes, extra cold, whatever. Accuracy rating's okay because you want more chance to hit. And the attack speed is just so we can get more barrages out quicker, because you do take some deaths if you know, you're caught standing still. One of the bonuses of Cyclone is that you get to move around, and you know, we don't have that anymore. You know, you trade that for being able to proc spells at a range. Another thing that is different is I'm not sure how important cooldown recovery on both the belt and boot slot most likely will be, because I'm not sure how, you know, with Cyclone you're pretty consistently proccing a number of attacks. This feels a lot more difficult to try and, you know what, let's stop the music for now. It feels a lot more difficult to try and set up for a ranged build like this. This is what I was using for the Cyclone chest, and now I just have a Vol Grace for a little bit of defense, and then a beefy Herald of Ice that, you know, I'm just using it just to use it. Ice Bite gives us frenzies, and we get, endurance charges while we're mapping, with Warlord's Mark, Curse on Hit, and increased crit just to keep the damage going. We're using Asenath's Chant in the Helm slot because it does a lot of interesting stuff. Blade Blast is pretty much only for the unnerve enemies for 4 seconds on hit. This makes them take increased spell damage. Big multiplier. Frostbite is one of the curses that will be applied to bosses, because the curse on hit doesn't necessarily work on bosses, and so Frostbite's a more relevant curse, which will help us with damage. And then Frost Bomb and a level 1 Wave of Conviction. Frost Bomb applies cold exposure, but it's at a delayed rate. It does some like reduced regeneration stuff on like scarier metamorphs, as you just saw, which is nice and helpful. But Wave of Conviction, if you keep it at level 1 and you see the amount of damage that can roll, it would be impossible to roll the elemental exposure for anything else besides cold, because it's such a low gem level, and I'm adding flat cold damage to spells from a number of sources, mostly really just the Herald of Ice, I think. Let's see. Yeah, so if you turn off the Herald of Ice, then you get a little, then it's up in the air. But with the Herald of Ice on, you're always going to be applying cold exposure. And these will just come out as we go. So yeah, it's just like a one-button build, similar to Spell Slinger almost. You know, it gives your build some nice utility. Everything else, Flame Dash, you got a Vol Righteous Fire for extra damage, pretty standard. Arcane Surge. I might go into normal dash. Flame Dash is, you know, it's solid, but I do like the dash a lot of the time. And precision, I am using discipline because, as I said, the tankiness of the assassin build is not really, leaves something to be desired. Even though I'm a soft core player, I do get very frustrated when I die. I like to, be able to do stuff deathless and consistently, so much so that I might re-roll a gladiator as another build. But yeah, Pandemonious is just beautiful, best in slot for any cold damage build. Unfortunately, I sold the Choir of the Storm. We did a lot of practice, or really experimenting with this assassin. We tried some Storm Secret stuff, but the auto bomber build is a little expensive and kind of boring. So ultimately, I wanted to do a project that would be more fun to craft with. So yeah, the big things would be crafting a new chest, because apparently it's so easy to get an explodey chest, although I don't even know if I want one of those. I feel like spell crit, attack crit would be more relevant for this build. And then I'm just mapping with my, this gear, which will be replaced with like Mark the Shaper or something like that. Standard stuff. Fingerless stealth gloves just for the spell damage. Implicit there, nothing too fancy. And yeah, the Tailwind boots, I guess. Tailwind is fantastic. It feels so good. Like, these are like not amazing boots, and I really do need to get tankier, or maybe swap to CI. I know that's a thing. So yeah, while I have these though, Tailwind feels awesome to have. When Tailwind and Elusive is going off together, it's fantastic. So anyway, I'm going to swap over to the other build. I'll be streaming this here and there. I don't know. Harvest has got me a little bit burnt out. I guess I can get into talking about that as I swap into my Spectres build. I've never tried Spectres before, but I love it so much that I think I'm league starting it next league. It is just so much bang for your buck, such a relaxing play style. And yeah, it's ridiculously powerful. I mean, I did Awakener 8 when 6 when I was like half asleep last night, and with a bunch of scuffed gear and nothing too fancy. I'm actually not going to run a map with this because it's pretty boring in terms, you pretty much just run around. I'm using the spiders version, where if you can get the kills on them and you have bodies, then you make a bunch of spiders. Shouts to Kay, I'm using her Spectres and Spiders build guide as a reference. I guess I'll link that in the description because it's worked fantastically for me. I do not have the +1 Spectres chest. With 3 Spectres, you're supposed to have 5 Spectres in the build altogether. So yeah, I'm basically just learning the build as I go, but being able to do way more like high-level content consistently. Like, I can run 15, 16s and watch something on my second screen. It's pretty much all I ever wanted in Path of Exile. I guess something to note is the Darkness Enthroned. I watched the Gazi video about how these aren't even that good jewels. I was just kind of bored and wanted to throw something in. My belt wasn't really that important on this build. But yeah, these minion jewels in the belt with the newly buffed Darkness Enthroned, really nice. But overall, I think Harvest as a league has kind of left me a little burnt out. It's understanding that the ceiling of what it provides, obviously it's a very powerful league and it does a lot of things right, like make a league relevant during leveling, something that's like unheard of. You almost never really get to actively use it. I guess now that I'm thinking about it though, not so much. Like, I don't bother picking up seeds that are below item level 76 anymore. That's tier 9 maps, just because some of the Horde crafting stations I have here, I'll go and like look for like something. It's like, oh, augment cold. I can only do this on 84 bases and below. So, it feels kind of bad. Like, see, I picked up like a defense aug, but only for 83. So, it's just like learning like the little ins and outs of the crafting mechanic itself has proved a little bit, I'd say, kind of exhausting. This league kind of has burned me out quicker than I really expected. Setting up the garden once it's all set up is pretty nice. It does look nice. I was hoping it would allow for more, customizability, but, this is Path of Exile, and it's a sort of game where people are going to min-max and figure out what needs to be done, and then you probably should just do it, because there's some really big rewards to be had here. I just found that, the means to the ends, it's just not a very satisfying and sort of less tangible than I usually enjoy. But that's okay. I'm almost would prefer that Path of Exile doesn't dominate my life for the cycle. I mean, I have played a decent amount probably above average, you know, amount than your average player. 3 level 90 plus characters to me doesn't seem like that much, and especially considering that they haven't really been able to, absolutely annihilate the content in the way that I understand that, stuff can. I'm just kind of lazy, I don't really want to go through. I'm too lazy to even sell the crafts that I am banking up, and I'm banking up seeds. Like I haven't even cleared out my dump tab. And I don't know, it's just a sort of thing where it feels like it's going to be another league where I am pretty much just going to get 24 challenges minimum, 36 maybe, if depending on, some of them are like a little bit annoying, like that waste pool challenge has been getting me a little tilted here and there. And then I'm going to be done because, Path of Exile, it's a sort of game for me, especially considering that, with all that's going on in the world recently, if we get a league that's, this high quality, even if it's not specifically geared for you, it's representative of a game that's evolving and just overall is a step above, the content that you're going to get in other games, especially considering it's free. I'm at the point where I've been playing Path of Exile for like 3 years now, almost. Yeah, I guess we're going to be about 3. I got in during Harbinger. I've been making content for about like a year and a half. So, I'm still here. I'm playing a lot of other games too. It's not like, just because I'm not crazy about the league, even if I hated the league, I would never go as far as to say like, oh, this game's dying. Oh, Tencent ruined Path of Exile. Path of Exile is a very dense game where, just the fact that I started this Spectre build for the first time 3 years into my, career as a player, whereas some people can start, their first build as a Spectre minion build. There's a lot of stuff to do, and ultimately that's going to keep the content coming, both as a content creator and as someone who just likes to play for fun. But I guess that's really what I wanted to get into saying. It's like I've been playing for more fun and like watching stuff on my second screen. I just don't really think that a lot of, like, I did a couple streams here and there, but performance has been an issue for me on and off within the past couple months. Pretty much specifically only with Path of Exile, which is a little concerning and upsetting, considering that this is 95% of the content that I'm going to do for YouTube and Twitch. So I've been branching out into other stuff. I've been playing like a Dark Souls 3 randomizer, keeping it fresh, trying out some like new single player games. I might play like the GameCube Fire Emblem games on stream. But yeah, anyway, we're rambling and getting into a bunch of stuff that doesn't have anything to do with Path of Exile. But you clicked on this vid because it's Path of Exile, and it's like we're like 20 minutes into this video, I'm sure. So we're gonna end it now. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you want to see more builds, what kind of builds you want to see. I feel like there's a lot of the higher end crafters and just the bigger personalities on YouTube are like doing like everything I want to do. We got Captain Lance doing a really nice RF build, and I think even MBX is doing an RF build. He did the Assassin Auto Bomber. There's the slams, the new slam skills. I did my own Ice Crash, which was definitely fun. I do not regret starting that, and it was a very satisfying experience to do. But ultimately, it seems like stuff like Berserker ends up being better. So, whatever. We'll see what happens. Let me know if you want to see more Path content. Otherwise, I might just be intermittently streaming it here and there when and if I can. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.